Welcome to Podcast 7. So we're down at the Senedd attending this mass demonstration for the protection of rural Wales against the industrialisation of Wales from all these turbines, solar panels and so forth. And it's a massive turnout here, huge numbers of people from all over Wales here in their coach loads. We've got politicians, we've got bands playing, we've got speeches, inspiring speeches, colourful placards covering all the different issues. So it's a great occasion, and I think our voice is really being heard. You can imagine the politicians in there hearing all of this sound going on outside. So really a great and effective occasion. Feels like something of a turning point.
Hands off Wales! Hands off Wales! Hands off Wales!
Well, thanks very much, Robert, there at the Senedd. And, no, we're both actually here. So welcome to Podcast 7. So how did it go?
Well, very, very interesting. I've been reflecting on this, Andy. You and I have been on a bit of a journey with our campaigning, probably the same kind of journey. We started off 2 years ago, and we were very much focused on the campaign against pylons in the Towy Valley. Yeah. And rightly so. And that campaign continues on, and there were people there at the protest who were very focused on let's get it undergrounded and so on. And all credit to them, and let's hope their campaign goes from strength to strength. And as we know, in the background, we've got this Justice for Wales going on, and all of that is excellent. But I think we've moved more towards a macro picture and the big issues concerning the whole of Wales. And so for me, it's no longer just about pylons in the Towy Valley. It's now much more about turbines, solar panels, the effect on rural Wales, the environment, and just engaging with the issues. And I think here on Hands Off Wales, we've come through that journey, haven't we? We've been exploring, is this green energy? Well, it's not green energy. What are the alternatives? And so on.
Yes, and the whole thing about is this energy that we need in Wales? Is it for us? Are we being asked about things? Are we being asked to approve of these things, or are they being done behind our backs? Is there sort of dodgy dealing going on in that politicians getting a little bit close to private enterprise, and the term gold rush coming in? Yeah. And there was a period about 6 months ago when there were announcements of another wind farm park. Almost every week, there are another couple of dozen being announced. Mm. So where we are is pretty well the whole of not the coastal bit, but the whole of the inside bit of Wales is under threat. And that involves huge numbers of people. And I think 11th of February 2026 will be remembered as a point at which those people came together, the threatened people came together and met for the first time.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's a shoulder-to-shoulder thing, isn't it, this? And no longer different campaign groups polarised in their own little zone. No longer doing that, but now actually coming together and thinking we are all united in our different ways in order to protect Wales. And it is about Wales. And so I felt, I agree with you. I think Wednesday was very much about that, and I thought that was powerful. So we've talked about turning points, and maybe it is a bit of a turning point. We'll have to see.
Anyway, we bumped into lots of people. There's quite a kind of variety of interviews that we did. They're all quite short. They're all quite interesting. Really, really interesting people. Should we have a look at the first lot?
Yeah, great.
What do we want them to change?
To actually consider renewable energy, but in a sensible way that doesn't destroy the environment and communities, and it's perfectly possible to do that. There are many small-scale, local, community-based schemes that would supply the communities that they're actually with, and the local communities would know the least environmentally damaging way of doing that. They don't need to turn it over for private profit to huge corporations, which actually just huge environmental destruction.
Our communities will be hugely adversely affected. You know, the community is right in the heart of the Escalation proposal, but environmentally there's just so many reasons not to put it right next to a triple SI, the Finland Triple SI, Waslin Nature Reserve. You know, it's just, no, it makes no sense.
It's Trewerin all over again.
So it's Wales
You know,
being extorted.
Exactly, yeah. It's the natural resources of Wales being taken out of Wales for the benefit of people who don't live in Wales. And even the investment and the money behind it hasn't come from Wales. And the money that's being generated is not going to be in Wales. It's ripping off the whole of the Welsh communities, the Welsh economy, the Welsh way of life, the culture, really.
I mean, we've come down from Mid-Wales today, and we've come down from everything green to everything black and concrete. So we know what we're going to lose, potentially, and that's wrong. I honestly feel that probably in generations this is the biggest and most worrying proposal that anybody would have ever seen. And I don't think even now many people know about it. Indeed, I think Welsh Government, were they responsible, they should be publicising what could potentially happen.
I think it's deliberate. I think there's a bit of a blackout on any information about it. It's very hard to get information. Even within our own areas, people don't know about it, do they?
Ask most people about what they think Wales is. You know, even if they're from London, they will know Wales as a beautiful, unspoiled part of Great Britain. And you know, this is the proposal is to wreck all that, isn't it? You know, people will in the future, if we're not careful, people will see Wales as one giant wind farm.
So several things I want to pick up on, Andy. The first one, in a general sense, about the environment, because many of the campaigners are very focused on this, and we heard commentary on that just now. So at the end of January, the 5-year Natural Resources Wales report came out, NRW. They are legally obliged to complete a report every 5 years. And it was damning. Right. It was absolutely damning. And just, you mind if I quote just from it? People may not have picked this up, but it's over 800 pages long. And it says, Wales continues to fail all 4 of the assessment key aims, which are geared around ensuring the environment is managed sustainably for both people and wildlife. And it talks about pollution, and it talks about the failing to protect the environment. Yeah. And so this is really important. It's just bizarre, to my mind, that government, on the one hand, through the organisation like NRW, is saying we must protect the environment. But on the other hand, there they are putting up wind turbines and other things which are clearly going to damage the environment. And it's this impossible juxtaposition of the two things that needs resolving. And I was struck by the sophistication of the views that were being expressed by people on Wednesday. These are not sort of swivel-eyed loonies who just sort of,
how kind of NIMBY thing that has been kind of like thrown at.
It's rubbish. It's absolute rubbish. These are people who are very well informed and many of them very well qualified to make commentary. And government is ignoring them at their peril. And I think the dismissive way in which Labour is just sort of saying, we're not going to take any notice of this, I think is totally disrespectful. So that's one point I wanted to make. And actually, in relation to that, and I was talking to you about this earlier, Andy, the announcement of the first rewilding scheme in Wales just the other day, very, very exciting, in the Doeddi Valley, just up on the Cambrian Mountains. And yet, the location of it, up on Mynydd Machlan, is right next to a proposed huge wind farm site. Yeah. And so, on the one hand, there's so much good going on to protect our environment and really forward-thinking and exciting plans. And on the other hand, you have this industrialisation. How can these two things sit close by each other? It just doesn't work. And the other thing I wanted to say Sorry, I've got so many things buzzing around in my head. But,
I think an event like that on Wednesday does that.
It does. But this point that was made by one of the people we interviewed about information blackout. People are not being told all of this, and we're trying hard through this podcast to get the word out, and other people are doing excellent work in the same manner. But we all, everyone, people who are listening to this, we all have a duty to try and get this out, to share this information so that more and more people understand it, because it's really important.
And coming up in some of the interviews, there are people saying about, people in the towns and cities need to hear about this as well.
Yeah, of course.
Let's say some more interviews.
Yeah, great.
Why are you here today?
I just think that the turbines and the pylons will decimate Mid Wales in terms of just the environment, the solitude, the beautiful environment we've got there. And that's my main thing. I spent most of my life teaching kids about the advantages of renewable energy, but this is the wrong thing in the wrong place.
It's interesting, isn't it? The more people we talk to, the more it seems that the pendulum has swung massively away from what we thought once was green, and now we're realising it's not green. Does that echo your thoughts?
Well, certainly not in Mid Wales, it's not, with the amount of infrastructure they'd have to ship in and ruin the countryside. So yes, very much so.
Yeah.
Out of my kitchen window I can see 7 ordinary sized wind turbines, and that is fine, and that's what we need. We need renewable energy. However, when it is scaled up to a size that is too large for Wales's needs, and that causes environmental damage, then we become concerned, and the damage that these are going to cause to our local ecosystem is just beyond belief, and we need to speak up for nature and protect our environment against thoughtless and profiteering large energy companies. This isn't being done for the good of Wales, this is being done for profit.
We hear many people say it's a gold rush.
Yes, it is.
Would you echo that?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And which part of Wales are you from?
From the south, from the valleys, from Mynydden. So you can almost see our mountain, which will be covered in concrete. And it has great crested newts, it has peat bogs, it has irreplaceable environments up there that will just be bulldozed.
It breaks my heart when they start to tear the sort of the wild lands of Wales apart, and destroy nature, which you do it once and it's forever, and you won't get it back. And the great thing about Wales, it is a place of nature and natural beauty, and that's what we sort of pride ourselves on. And by doing this, sort of industrialising our heartland lands and our mountains and our hills, it just tears the heart out of Wales and the people, and the country bleeds and will not return. I mean, it's our heritage, and it's our children's heritage, and it should be respected.
Ideally, we'd like them to scrap the whole scheme and give Butte the boot.
We as campaigners have sometimes been criticised as NIMBYs. And this gets me so annoyed, because this is absolutely not about NIMBYism. These are people who have a very big picture understanding of the impact that these things will have. But these people are not, and us included, we're not against renewables. This is not the thing. We're not just sort of trashing renewable policy. Absolutely not. People are very in favour of renewables, and they've got a clear vision for more community-based, small-scale renewable policies. And
those are even including wind turbines, but smaller, more modest ones planned in a way that damages least.
Yes. So I thought it was very good that was being voiced. And I'd love the politicians to really grasp that point and stop dismissing us. I thought the point being made strongly about this is forever. The concrete in the hills, the concrete in the peat, that's just forever. You can't wind back the clock. We're going to lose all of this precious environment, rural Wales, commodities. It's going to go. And the final point I wanted to make on that little section there was very, very good to have representation from the valleys,
Yeah.
And I think it was the Mynydd Mine scheme down there. I thought those people spoke very well. But I think we said this is about the whole of Wales. So we're talking about from the very south, from the valleys to the very north. Everyone needs to get on board and understand what this is about.
Yeah, no, agree with that. Well, we've got one more set of interview clips.
Yeah.
Shall we have a look?
Yes.
Communities actually are demonstrating a low carbon way of life. The kind of communities that we have in mid Wales are actually really living a low carbon lifestyle. And what's going to happen is the actual livelihood of those communities is going to be destroyed.
Yeah.
It's going to take away tourism, it's going to take away all the ways in which people are trying to make small-scale livelihoods. That's exactly what we should be doing, and yet that's going to be destroyed.
Yes.
So it's as if they've only looked at one aspect of it, and everything else is being sacrificed to that, which completely wrecks the original point.
Yeah, yeah. And I hear, ironically, 30, 40 years ago, farmers in mid Wales were self-contained with energy and had their own hydro schemes, all of which were abandoned because of the national grid.
45,000 small-scale hydro projects, and actually now there's an example of how they have a hydro project or want to have a hydro project and are not able to do that.
No pylons, I hope so.
Yeah.
We don't want them. We're being bullied into possibly having pylons.
They're coming down through the Tywi Valley and they're destroying the landscape. We don't mind them going underground.
No, we don't mind underground, but
so Butte can take it and stick it where the sun doesn't shine.
Where the sun don't shine.
Yeah.
So I'm from Brecon, and the Epint is the big common up above us that has a turbine park proposed of 22 turbines, all of 220 metres tall, and it surrounds one of the villages, Llanfangle Nant Bran, which would be devastated by this. And so so it's a huge common. The MOD are on half of it. They've got a 10-kilometre exclusion range in theory, but this is why we're all waiting for the MOD to actually say something, because to really say no or yes or no.
So just so people who may not know exactly where you are, you're close to Senedd Bridge, and of course it's a massive training area for the MOD, isn't it?
Huge, yeah.
And low-flying aircraft, is that a factor?
Really low-flying aircraft, yeah. And people have been filming them, and I see them out of my window, practically at bedroom window height.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's I don't really understand how it would work for them at all, and why they're not just saying no.
Really important points being made about the livelihood of marginal communities who struggle to make a living. Mid Wales is not a rich area. It's much of it is deprived, and the loss of tourism, for example. So that was those important points to have made. And I was interested to hear about the hydro schemes which have all been lost. So I think the interviewer was saying 45,000 small-scale hydro schemes which used to exist. And this is what they want. This is what we want to go back to, where it's community-based and where you don't need huge pylon lines, sort of spider's web over Wales. You don't need that if you're community-based and local. So it's good to have those points made. And just this thing about the economy and tourism. And so we had the lady talking about the Epint scheme, which is right on the edge of the Banner Breconiog National Brecon Beacons National Park, right on the edge of it. And how important is tourism to the national park? Massively important. And yet here we have a scheme which would compromise all those glorious views that you see when you're climbing up Pen y Fan and these other great mountains.
Yeah, you might as well be building factories next to them.
Yeah, it makes absolutely no sense. Why industrialise beautiful landscape right on the edge of one of our national parks? Why would you do that? It's so unsophisticated and stupid.
And there were speeches in the event at the Senedd. Very interesting range of speakers.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to pay tribute to Havert Hughes, who was sort of comparing the event and leading our chanting, which is really good. And we had the drummers going as well. And obviously Jenny Chris, who had organised so much of it and who was speaking. But yeah, we had a good number of speakers, a number of politicians and non-politicians as well. Might be worth mentioning who we had, do you think?
Yeah, yes.
Andy? So we've just got listed down here. Darren Miller, leader of the Conservatives. Pleased to see him standing up, because actually it's the first time I've heard the Conservatives in quite such an unequivocal way condemning these schemes. So that encouraged me. James Evans, who was Conservative MS for Brecon and Radnorshire, and who's now switched across to Reform. So he was slightly flying the Reform banner and spoke very well. And he's been a stalwart in campaigning against the energy parks. Jason Barker, who has Heritage Party, who very, very knowledgeable, speaks passionately. Gwyn Evans from Gward. Jane Dodds, who spoke Lib Dems. And then we had Jenny Christ, I've mentioned, Lorna Brazell from the Cambrian Mountain Society. Russell George, who is an independent, one of the two independent MSs in the Senedd, member for Montgomeryshire, who was encouraging about how you can succeed with these campaigns, because of course he helped succeed with the Montgomeryshire campaign against pylons a year or two back. So yeah, I don't know if there were others we haven't mentioned, but it's good that people know that these people were there. No one from Labour, which was disappointing. I'm not surprising, to be honest, because they've just put a wall up and they refuse to engage, which I think is foolhardy. And no one from Plaid, and they may have been too busy, and so for Plaid, of course, in the past have been very willing to speak up on these issues. So it was disappointing that they weren't there, but they may well have been otherwise engaged and unable to speak.
Yes, and Plaid have, going back to the hustings in Llandovery, they've set out a policy for a more modest version of the developments. What they are suggesting is fewer, smaller wind turbines, further apart, and the important thing, which I think comes up every time, that is absolutely necessary, is we do need, after May the 7th, after the election, pretty well whatever happens, to stop this gold rush process before it goes too far. And it's called some people are calling it a pause, some people are calling it a stop for reflection. Moratorium. It's necessary, and I hope that we hear from the various political parties as their manifestos come out, that's what they will do, because this needs to be sorted out and it needs to involve the public making decisions. So we had the speeches. Why do you think it was important to have the speeches at the event?
Well, I think because of May the 7th. This is the thing. This is what we are now focused on. Manifestos will be coming out soon. They are going to be nailing their colours to masts in their policies, and we need to hear from them. So yeah, I think that's it. I think we're on a journey now towards the Senedd election.
We've had quite a lot of views of our interview, or did an interview with Dr. Wynne Thomas, and you had a chat with him at the Senedd. Let us hear what he had to say.
Could you just tell us how you feel it's gone today? I mean, you've spoken in the past about the importance of protest.
Yes.
What about it? Here we are, we're protesting, aren't we?
Well, protesting and protesting well. This is up there with the best of them. It's so impassioned. You know, this is our Tryweryn, I believe. You know, we need to show ourselves, of course, and future generations that we stood up for Wales the way that our predecessors did for what is right. This beautiful landscape, this God-given landscape that we're proud and honoured to live in, really. You know, the Senedd is there to protect the interests of Wales, and so it should. And people have joined here today in great numbers and shown that protest means something. And we're fighting for what we believe in. And it's enough to make me almost emotional, if I'm totally honest.
Yeah. Do you feel optimistic that the message is going to get through?
Yes, I am, actually. I'm increasingly optimistic that this message is being heard. And why wouldn't it be? It's been well expressed, it's been well delivered, which is far more than can be said for this preposterous nonsense which they're proposing, which is ill-conceived and ill-delivered. What you heard today are facts.
Yeah.
Facts delivered well. Now they need to listen, and they have to listen to that. And we will be here again, as I said. We'll be here time and time again until this policy is consigned to the rubbish bin where it belongs.
Yeah, absolutely. Powerful message. Yeah, well done. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Robert.
Thank you. How do you feel it's gone today?
I feel that people now, the people in the crowd are really getting the message now. I think the public in Mid Wales and beyond, in rural Mid Wales, are beginning to understand what is coming down the line if we don't stop it. And we have to stop it, and we have to keep fighting. And what I've seen today, people are prepared to do that.
Yeah.
Up until now, I think people haven't quite believed what could possibly be proposed. Now they've seen it for themselves, and I think they understand. And because they've seen other people protesting as well, I think now I'm confident and happy that we have got it in Wales.
Yeah, it feels like a bit of a turning point to me. And we've interviewed people from the valleys who are campaigning, obviously lots of people from Mid Wales and so on. It's a coming together and a turning point. And to have the politicians here outside their own Senedd speaking, Darren Miller, for example, I mean, it feels like a bit of a turning point. Do you agree?
Absolutely a turning point. I've been delighted with both the turnout from the population, but also the turnout from the Senedd. And different parties coming, not just the usual suspects, but different parties coming. I'm very disappointed that Labour hasn't come, and I'm very disappointed that Plaid Cymru hasn't come. And also we haven't seen the Green Party, which surprises me.
Yeah.
But beyond that, I'm absolutely delighted by the range of politicians who've come out to speak, and with the passion with which they've been speaking.
Yeah. So Andy, Jenny seemed quite encouraged by how it's all gone. I think the point about spreading the word, and it really is beginning to get out there now, and today's demonstration, I think, has been very effective. So she's encouraged. To be honest, I'm pretty encouraged too, Andy. I think it's been a great occasion, and it's been a privilege to be here.
Right, so back in the studio, we're going to wrap things up and say cheerio. But Robert, what would you like to say?
I think I'd just like to say thank you to those who organised the event and those who came, because many of them will have travelled a long way. They may well have taken a day off work. They may well have had to have left their cattle and their sheep in the fields and not tend to them. And many people couldn't come because, of course, it was a Wednesday and it was a working day. And also, it's term time. We're coming up to half term, but this was term time. So children couldn't come. And we know that this is a big issue for many families and their children. So I thought the turnout was great in bearing all of those things in mind. It was wonderful. So just thank you to everybody for coming, for making the effort, and for being there on the steps of the Senedd. It was a very important moment. And so we move on from here, and we have our sights firmly fixed on May the 7th and the Senedd election, because this is the way the change will happen, and it's not going to happen unless people vote, and they need to vote the right way. And so what we're going to try and do, Andy, is in the ensuing weeks is try and have interviews with politicians, try and get the information out there so that people can make informed choices when it comes to that really important election day.
Yeah, this all feels, as you said in the piece to camera, it all feels very significant, and I don't think I'd use the word historic quite yet, but I think we might be getting there. And thanks very much for watching.
Thank you.